Hello, welcome to the Object Fur-Covered Cup, Saucer, and Spoon discussion. I'm Mrs. Morit, and I am here with
Mrs. Wyatt.
Let's go ahead and begin with the title. This is called Object. The artist is Oppenheim. It's spelled right here, in case you don't know how to spell that. And then the historical period is modern. Would you like to describe, Mrs. Wyatt, what this is made with?
Yes, it's a common teaspoon, a cup, a saucer, and it is covered in gazelle fur.
A very strange thing to see, huh?
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about why she would make such a strange object. When she talks about it, Oppenheim, she stresses the physicality of the object. So she really wants you to think about the feeling of the fur while you're drinking from the cup and using the saucer and spoon. There wasn't a patron for this piece, but, and the intended audience was her artistic contemporaries, much like what we've seen before in the past.
Yes. I think a surrealistic audience.
Yes. And do you want to tell the story behind it?
Well, the story behind it is that Oppenheim, she's very young. She's only 22 years old when this piece is done. So her and Mar, who is a surrealistic artist also, who's female, are all sitting in a cafe in Paris with Picasso. And they're talking about her bracelet. So Oppenheim is wearing a bracelet that's covered in fur. And they're all laughing and joking, saying that if you cover anything in fur, it makes it luxurious and that people will want it. Mm-hmm. And this piece is kind of the result of that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And this piece is interesting because it really makes a surrealist object very obvious. So in a surrealist object, this is an object, as Dali describes it, an object that serves a symbolic function. So when we look at this object, we know what you use these objects for. We're very familiar with teacups and saucers and spoons, but it's not necessarily about those objects. It's about the function that they serve, especially now that they're covered in fur. So it's supposed to kind of mess with your head a little bit.
It is. And it can take you in a lot of different directions.
Oh, yes.
So it can go to keeping the tea warm, to the tickle on your throat, to uncomfortableness, to all sorts of different ideas that were attributed to this piece.
Yes, definitely. And what's interesting, too, is Oppenheim, she talks a lot about her pieces, which were usually objects that were doing unusual things or had kind of unusual situations. Mm-hmm. And she talks about this one a lot, about how it was displayed in a different way than she intended, and a gender was actually attributed to the shoes here. But in her descriptions, her creations are genderless.
Yes.
They are objects doing unusual things.
Mm-hmm.
So,
or thinking about trying to walk in a pair of shoes that are tied at the toes.
Yes.
That it puts a whole new idea onto how they would function.
Yes.
So the functioning of this is very much changed.
Yes. And we see that in the saucer, we see it in the shoes, and we see it with this bike here that has bees on it.
Yes. And my understanding is she just found this photograph.
She found the bees on the bike and then took the picture, or?
No, she found the picture, and it's a found photograph.
You're right.
And so she didn't take the picture, but she found the picture, and then she used it, and because it was right along with everything that she does, to think about sitting on this gives you a great deal of uncomfortableness. Yeah. And so walking in the shoes connected, same thing, and drinking from a fur cup, same idea.
Yes. So, there you have it. A little tidbit about a very complex idea on such a, or complex meaning on such a simple idea, I guess I should say. And thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy.